Oh, I think I ate too much at dinner. Cheesy chicken, so good. Good evening, East Texas. I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony with this weather impact alert update. First of all, I want to start by thanking everyone who's been watching and following along all week long, either on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page here, and also on CBS 19 Plus. You guys have been great. You've been instrumental. You've been asking great questions. We really appreciate the support. So we're going to carry you through here the next couple of days and, of course, through the winter storm. I am monitoring any kind of questions or comments that you might have on our Facebook page here tonight. So if you have anything, please post those questions and we'll try to answer those for you. But let's start with the winter storm warning that now goes into effect tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and it runs through Sunday at noon. With that being said, I also want to bring up that if you wake up Saturday morning and not a lot has happened, that doesn't mean the forecast has failed, because it now looks like this is going to come at us in two parts. One overnight, Friday into Saturday, and then there may be a little bit of a lull Saturday afternoon, and then I think the big show comes in Saturday night and into Sunday morning when the coldest of the air in this entire storm arrives. And so we could have rain at the onset. It could just be rain and the streets could just be wet. And then we start to see a little bit of accumulation on tree limbs and power lines, maybe Saturday morning into the middle part of the day, and then things will shut off. And you may be thinking, oh, we're done. They got it wrong. Of course, they always get it wrong. But wait, Saturday night, overnight into Sunday morning, again, is the bigger part of this storm. Starting to be able to pick out the timeline on the storm. And that's usually what you can do when you get closer to the storm. You start seeing the timeline on it. You also start to see the amounts, and you're able to kind of pick out where and when all of this will happen. So I'm just kind of trying to find our way to the Facebook page and to our live stream. There we are. Okay, so we got a question or a comment here. This is going to be coming to us. How long do you think we will lose power? Well, that's a tough question, because first, you'd have to lose power. But if you did, it could be, for a few hours. It really just kind of depends on where you are and the severity of the ice. So that's a great question. I appreciate that. But at this point, it's kind of too early to tell. Anyway, winter storm warning goes into effect Friday night, 6 o'clock, lasts till Sunday at noon. And again, we'll see a couple of waves with this storm. Winter storm watch over deep East Texas has been pushed back to Saturday morning, and that'll last until Sunday morning. And the reason for this is that initially, when it rains tomorrow and tomorrow night, the temperatures are going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s in parts of deep East Texas Saturday morning. So it may take a little bit longer to get the colder air down there. Now, I did get some data in here tonight, our latest high-res data into the CBS 19 Weather Center, and I'll be able to play that out for you and show that transition as we head into Sunday or Saturday night, Sunday morning over deep East Texas. Something else that was released today from the National Weather Service, and this is a new part to this whole storm, and that is an extreme cold watch in light blue and extreme cold warning in dark blue. This simply means that Sunday night into Monday morning and even into Tuesday morning, we potentially could see temperatures drop to about 10 or 11 or 12 degrees for the overnight lows. Monday morning, and then again Tuesday morning, we could drop to about 15. So we think the colder air will come in the Dallas-Fort Worth area over toward Canton and Athens Saturday night and Sunday morning, and then it'll take a little longer Sunday night into Monday morning, and then coming back around again Tuesday morning with everything that melts Monday afternoon, if anything should melt, refreezing solid by Tuesday morning. So again, extreme cold watch, light blue, extreme cold warning, dark blue. That's new here into the Weather Center. All right, Ashley wants to know around Ore City. I'll try to talk about Ore City here in just a second. I think Ore City is one of those areas where we could see a little more icing than what you'd like to hear or talk about. Right now, cloudy skies outside. It's 56, so it's muggy. Mild, I should say. It's kind of damp. Dew points are in the upper 40s. We have a light east wind at 3 miles an hour, and the storm that we're tracking still off the west coast. It has not yet to move on shore. Last night, if you were watching, we talked about how hurricane hunters The folks that fly into hurricanes and tropical storms, well, they had been lending some of those C-130s to this storm, and they've been flying missions around the storm trying to gather data and then pump that into computer models to help kind of get a better feel for what's going to happen, because this storm could impact as many as 24, 25 states across the United States with either freezing rain or sleet or heavy snowfall. There are some real impressive snowfall forecasts north of us, and we have impressive ice forecasts as it is. But at any rate, as we head into the evening hours tonight, overnight, you're watching the clouds kind of streaming. And this is the Pacific moisture. This is our moisture source that we're tied to for this storm. In addition, there is a component out of the Gulf coming up, but it's really the Pacific that is putting all of that moisture flowing west to east. And that storm sits out there and just keeps pumping moisture in our direction. As you can see the clouds coming in our direction. At the same time, we have Arctic air just kind of oozing down from the north. And that combination is what we see first as rain Friday, and then as the colder air enters the picture, that changeover to freezing rain and or snow. Let's see who else is on the board. We've got Longview and Wascom checking in here tonight. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Let me grab my glasses so I can read some of those questions a little bit closer, get you a better feel for what's going on. I can answer some of those questions if I could find those glasses. Just when you need them, you can't find them, right? So let's see. How about, in your professional opinion, do you think this storm will be for East Texas, around Carthage, Texas? All right, so how bad? I'll answer that in a question. Oh my goodness, yeah, the Ted Cruz index. I heard some folks joking about that today. Let's see, Jennifer wants to know about Lindale, so I'll try to get to that in just a second. But Derek, we'll talk about Longview, Marshall, and Wascom. It really does, when you look at what's happening, the area out to the east of Tyler, Longview, Ore City, up in that area looks to be maybe hit the hardest by this, which I'll go into detail in just a second. But Saturday morning, so remember I said we had all that moisture coming in. We have rain that begins Friday afternoon and it becomes heavier Friday night. And then the Arctic air is slowly oozing southward, okay? We have something called the Ouachita Wall here in East Texas. The Ouachita Mountains, the Kiowa Mountains over southern Oklahoma. Sometimes if that air mass isn't deep enough, if it's real shallow, it has a hard time, meaning if the air mass is like 1,000 to 2,000 feet thick, has a hard time making it over that mountain range, and so we stay a little bit warmer. It delays the onset of the Arctic air, so that may be the case late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Notice deep East Texas is still rain, so it takes a little longer for the colder air to ooze its way down there. In fact, it could be 3, 4 o'clock in deep East Texas is still just seeing rain, while closer to Interstate 20, it's freezing rain at that point. Again, there is a chance to mix in a little bit of sleet, but I don't know that the air gets cold enough to support sleet. So what we would have happening is we have about, we'd have 40-degree air, a couple thousand feet or about 5,000, 10,000 feet off the surface, and it's falling. For it to be sleet, there would have to be a cold layer for those raindrops to freeze into that little ice pellet. That doesn't seem to happen in this case because it looks like it makes it all the way to the surface as rain, and then it hits the sub-freezing surface, the sidewalks, driveways, parking lots, roads, at 29 or 28, 29 degrees, then it freezes on contact. So that's why you have freezing rain, and that's the difference. Notice though, as you get into Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, now it pushes all the way to the south. So this is where I'm talking about where folks may look at Saturday afternoon and think that this thing is over and that the weather meteorologists, they blew it, they didn't get it right again or something like that nature. But you got to stick with this storm because the worst part of it's coming in Saturday night, overnight, Sunday morning. That's when the depth of that cold air gets thicker. That's when you have a better chance to see that freezing rain really setting up. And then you'll notice Sunday morning it ended as a little bit of snow, and then it moved on out. So here's the storm timeline as we see it right now. We know rain is developing tomorrow, but it's all rain. The roads will be fine tomorrow. All right, so you don't have to rush out anywhere. You don't have to worry about getting home soon or worrying that you didn't get something accomplished today in your preparations. You still have tomorrow. It's just wet. Then we get to Saturday. The temperatures are dropping. Heavy freezing rain is possible at times during the day Saturday. Sleet could mix in again, but I think it's going to mainly be freezing rain. Freezing rain, sleet continue. Temperatures fall into the Upper teens, low 20s Saturday night, and then Sunday, bitter cold with snow showers to end the event. So the snow showers are going to be the tail end of this event. So how do we prepare? Well, tonight, you still have time to winterize your house. This is one of the first times this year where we have to really worry about busted pipes. And that would be Sunday night, Monday morning, and again, Monday night and Tuesday morning as temperatures drop into the teens. Friday, good time to prepare. If you've got a backup power source like a generator, make sure you test that out, make sure it's running. You've got fuel for it. Windshield wipers, if you do have to drive Saturday, some of us have to work. There's no way around it. And then let's make sure that our friends and our relatives, that they have shelter and they have a warm place. And then Saturday during the day, I put the batteries on here just so you know where your batteries are in case the power goes out, for flashlights or for battery operated, let's say lanterns or something of that nature, battery operated radio, and then your cell phone's charged up so that you can keep up to date. We'll be streaming Saturday all during the day, off and on, up to date with the storm. And if you do lose power, please report that to the power companies so that they know exactly where the power is out and they can get to work on that. All right, getting another question about Overton. And Ashley wants to know, are we still getting snow? Ashley, if we get snow, we're going to be talking about a very light amount. We're looking at less than an inch, and that would be Sunday morning. It's just not setting up that way. It's more of a freezing rain event here. All right, so how are the roads? Well, tomorrow the roads are fine. There's no ice tomorrow. Sometimes roads get wet, and there can be a slick spot or two, so that's possible. Saturday's the day where the roads become somewhat icy, especially late afternoon and really Saturday night. And then anything that is liquid Saturday night, by Sunday morning, it's freezing. It'll be frozen solid. Some roads could be impassable. I mean, we're talking about some country roads out away from the city. Maybe they haven't been treated, or if they had been treated, maybe water had washed away the treatment. And so then you'd have a situation where those roads would really become very difficult to travel over. All right, Nicole's asking about Bullard. We'll try to answer that. Joanna, Tyler, we'll answer that also here. Tatum, Nicole, thanks for checking in. Joshua, thanks for checking in from Palestine. Matthew wants to know about Atlanta, Texas. All right, so we'll try to get to all of those areas here. So let's talk first about our weather impact alert. It's the weekend ice storm. It's Friday night through Monday at noon. We put Monday noon in there because we're talking about the very cold air Monday morning. So you've got freezing rain, Arctic cold as part of this storm. The need here is to avoid driving as much as we can over the weekend. And also, let's make sure our pets are sheltered. They're inside. They're staying warm. Your friends are staying warm. You're staying warm as best that you can. All right, so here's Future Skycast. And I'm going to try to remember all of the cities. So Jeannie is asking about Center, and Karen's asking about Rusk, and we've got a question about Gilmer. All right, so let's walk through this. Tomorrow morning, rain. Temperatures are in the 50s. We're still rain, just scattered showers, but notice the temperatures haven't budged, about 50 degrees. Then we get into late afternoon, and the rain begins to cool the air a little bit, and the leading edge of some of this chilly air begins to just kind of filter its way and ooze its way down into East Texas. So the temperatures are in the 40s. This is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Kids coming home from school, getting off work, you're fine. Everything's good. Now we get to 8 o'clock up close to Interstate 30, or I-30 over toward Linden, Atlanta, Texas. Now you start getting into maybe some sleet, freezing rain as temperatures try to drop now close to the freezing mark. And then we get to about 11 o'clock. Now we're flirting with the freezing mark at Mineola, at Gilmer. Jefferson, Linden's gone below freezing. Sulphur Springs has gone below freezing at that time. By Saturday, middle part of the night, now the Arctic air has oozed its way down to Interstate 20. So Marshall's dropping to 29, Longview's dropping to 30, Tyler at 30, and Athens at 31. Because it's in the 50s today, likely around 50 tomorrow, it may take a little while for the streets to become icy. So initially, we could have air temperatures around 30, and the streets would just be wet. But let's watch those bridges and overpasses. They would be first to freeze up and become treacherous. Meantime, deep East Texas, upper 30s to around 40 degrees at 3 a.m. But by 7 a.m. Saturday, now I'd say about 90% of us are in the freezing rain. And especially as these temperatures get into the upper 20s. So we had questions about Gilmer. We had questions about Ore City. We had questions about Overton. So anywhere in this area by Saturday morning in those towns. In Tyler, we're looking at that. Center, same holds true. Center's down to 29 degrees. And that little bright pink area there would indicate that perhaps the freezing rain's getting a little bit heavier. So there could be quick accumulations of ice on those bridges, overpasses, tree limbs, power lines. And then I want to show you this because this is important, and this is the part of the storm that I don't want folks to miss, because I think if it shuts off around noon and it doesn't do anything for a couple of hours, we may think that the storm is over, and it's not. That second wave comes in late afternoon into Saturday night, and this is the wave that's heavier and more consistent. Look at that, 8 p.m., the whole area in freezing rain with temperatures in the low to mid to maybe upper 20s. Cold enough to support freezing power lines, tree limbs, and streets. This is the most dangerous part of this storm here is Saturday night. If we're going to lose power, it's going to be late Saturday night, overnight into Sunday morning. We still have a north wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour. That's another part of the storm we have to be concerned about. Once we get to about 5 a.m. Sunday, here comes a little bit of snow. It dries out, or at least the atmosphere dries out, but the skies are still cloudy. We've got temperatures in the low 20s, so anything that was liquid is frozen and stays that way. Now, storm prediction, I should say the Weather Prediction Center. They're kind of like the Storm Prediction Center. They put out something called the Winter Storm Severity Index. They look at an overall impact of a storm, and sometimes they look at just the ice impact. So I'm showing you just the ice impact that they released earlier today, and it runs through noon on Sunday, okay? So we look at the colors here, and we've got this kind of orangish red color. So that major impacts. So they think we could have major impacts. So they're saying avoid travel Saturday night, Sunday. Widespread closures and power outages are possible. So some of these areas could have widespread power outages. Now, I think we're going to get to the point what everybody's asking about in your particular city, and I'll try to go over that. But the ice looks like it's going to be heaviest from just northeast of Tyler up here toward Little Rock. This dark purple area is really exceeding that inch, maybe inch and a quarter of ice. Let me zoom this in here into East Texas. All right, so northeastern Smith County, we're looking at maybe quarter to half inch. There could be areas that have 3/4 of an inch of ice. National Weather Service in their briefings have been talking about at least a 50 to 75% chance of seeing a half inch of ice or even more than that across East Texas. All right, so let's go through some of these questions here. We had Gilmer, Don Ray, you can see up here in Gilmer, we're likely talking about maybe a half inch of ice, very possible. All right, so Rusk, a little bit less. Maybe we're looking at generally, not Rusk County, but Rusk, quarter of an inch, maybe 1/10 to a quarter of an inch. That's still enough to cause some power disruption, so we're not out of the woods there. Overton out here to the east, we'd be talking about maybe closer to a half inch of ice possible. Bullard, maybe 1/4 inch of ice. And then let's see, Tyler, Tatum, Jacksonville, closer to that 1/4 inch of ice. Come over toward Tatum. Now you're talking about 1/4 inch, 1/10 of an inch of ice. I mean, it's not backbreaking, but it could cause some power disruptions as we talked about. Palestine, you're right there on that 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice with about a 50% chance of that. Harrison County could be one of the harder hit areas, northern Harrison County right here into Marion County. This is going to be 3/4 of an inch. There could be, again, some pockets that get closer to an inch of ice. Cushing, we're talking about maybe a 1/10 to maybe a 1/4 inch of ice in Cushing. And Center, I think we've talked about Center. So, you know, maybe about a 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice down towards Center. So overall, this has trended a little bit better in terms of the ice amounts. Earlier in the week, there was a wider spread of 3/4 of an inch and inch of ice totals, and some of the inch of ice totals have pushed up to the north. All right, could power go out with a 1/4 of an inch of ice? Well, Joshua, let's talk about that. All right, so these are the ice accumulation impacts. A 1/10 of an inch of ice, okay? And when we're measuring that, that's in the circumference. That's not depth. That's around the circular of a tree limb or a power line, all right? So a 1/10 of an inch could cause a light glaze on the roadways and sidewalks. Now, that would be linear. not in a circular. Slick bridges, certainly possible. So I think this is what we're definitely going to have in East Texas is a light bridge, a light glaze on roads and sidewalks, slick bridges, coated windshields, and isolated power outages. That looks pretty likely. Now, here's the iffy part. Do we get to this point? Quarter inch of ice, certainly possible in a large portion of the area. Icy roads, the tree limbs are going to sag and some break, and so we could end up with numerous power outages. We've been through this before in terms of severe weather and numerous power outages where we're talking about, thousands of folks without power. The question is, we don't want this to last very long. We really want this to be a short-lived event. If we do have power, if we do lose power, we can get those reports in, and then the power companies can get out. By the way, I've heard folks, power linemen are coming down from Missouri to stage in advance of this storm system to help us out here in East Texas. So we welcome all the linemen that are coming in to help us get out of the storm. So yeah, the question is, could the power go out with a quarter inch of ice? Yes, the power could. That doesn't guarantee it, but the power could. Half inch of ice, which is possible in some parts of the area, north and east, closer to the Arklatex, but unfortunately it does include Harrison County. It does include a portion of Upshur County, closer to maybe Gilmer, up toward northeastern Gregg County. There is a chance that those areas, let me back this up I'll go back this up to the graphic again and just kind of zoom in on this area here. So from Tyler to the northeast, that pink area corresponds with a half inch of ice to maybe 3/4 of an inch of ice. So that is certainly a possibility. So this would probably be, I think, our biggest concern for power outages would be in northeast Smith County through Gregg County up through Upshur, parts of Harrison, Marion County up into Cass, Bowie County, and even Morris County. Rest of us, there could be some isolated power outages, but if we're going to have widespread power outages, it's probably north and east. And that data has been consistent since today's Thursday, since Tuesday. That one area of northeast Texas has really kind of been under the gun with that data. It's been real consistent. So that would tell us that we have a little bit of a better chance there. What will Tyler look like Monday morning in terms of school delays? Well, if we have this much ice, and the fact that Monday morning, we're talking about a potential record-tying low temperature of 12 degrees. So that could be an issue in terms of going to school. There may be a school day or a snow day on Monday. That's the low Monday morning, 12. The sun is out, so there would be some melting, and then you got to be concerned about Tuesday morning. We drop back to 15. So you're talking about black ice developing Monday night into Tuesday morning, so you really have to be careful there. At any rate, rain tomorrow, again, to recap, 51. And then that transition, I think we fall to 30 Saturday morning, but the temperatures keep falling. And so eventually we're into freezing rain with temperatures around 27 degrees or 28 degrees by the end of the day. Then falling to 23 by Sunday morning, but some areas could fall into the teens, especially north of I-20. And then 22 Sunday afternoon down to 12 Monday, 33 Monday afternoon back to 15 Tuesday. And not to freak anybody out, but I saw the data today, and let's just get through this storm before we start talking about next Friday. But the models are in agreement. The two deterministic long-range models, medium-range models that a lot of meteorologists look at, the European model, the American model, they have both have rain and snow moving back into East Texas next Friday. But I'll leave it at a 30% chance. I'm not going to go whole hog on that storm system. One more question. Could the wind chill drop below zero? Yes, Joshua. Yes, Monday morning wind chill values could be below zero. That's another reason that we have the extreme cold watch and extreme cold warning in place. All right, Paris doesn't look good. Yeah, Paris could get slammed with some freezing rain also, but also sleet and snow would be possible up in Paris, Texas. All right, so that's what we got. Lane Clark wants to know about Longview. Let me just go back. It seems to be the best thing to do here because when we look at the ice amounts, and again, this has been consistent, and so I have a really good feeling that this is going to be, when it's all said and done, it's going to play out close to these numbers. So a quarter inch to half inch of freezing rain across much of the area. That would include Longview or very close to Longview. So that's for Longview. We talked about Paris, Texas. Yeah, up here in that 3/4 of an inch. But I also got to tell you, that could be some sleet mixing in there. So sleet doesn't stick to power lines or to tree limbs. It bounces off. It makes travel treacherous, but it's better than sticking to the power lines. All right, Marilee wants to know about Kilgore. Same as Longview. So you're in that half inch of ice, probably about a half inch of freezing rain accumulation. So again, I think we're going to have, we could have widespread power outages in some parts of the area to isolated to sporadic widespread power outages. How long they last, I just don't know, but hopefully the power crews can get, could get to us and get us back online pretty fast. What will wind chills look like this weekend? Wind chills tomorrow, or Saturday I should say, will be in the teens. Sunday, wind chills will be in the lower teens in that 10 to 15 degree range. And then Monday morning, the wind chills will be closer to 0 at that time. All right, so we're just about done wrapping up this, this forecast. I appreciate all these questions. You guys have been great. I appreciate your time. Brittany wants to know about Marshall. Let's do Marshall. So if Marshall's right here on the interstate or just off the interstate, you're in that quarter to half inch ice accumulation, freezing rain accumulation. So if you're just tuning in, we talk about ice accumulation impacts here, quarter inch of ice. What would that do? Icy roads, tree limbs sagging, so power outages possible at a quarter inch. So we're going to have power outages, unfortunately, this weekend. So hopefully everybody's been able to get, yeah, if you don't need to be out, stay home. Terry, that is the best advice we can possibly give folks. All right, I appreciate you guys all watching here this evening. One more look at the 10-day forecast. 90% chance for freezing rain, weather impact alert till Monday morning. Extreme cold watch for Monday morning. Winter storm warning in effect until Sunday at noon for most of the area. Deep East Texas still in a winter storm watch. May be added as we get closer to the storm event. And then next Friday, we'll keep an eye on that computer modeling data. Thanks for watching our special coverage here on our YouTube channel. If you want like or subscribe to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. We're really trying to pump our numbers up here so we can get the word out. Facebook, same thing. You can share this video with all your friends if you want. Go ahead and feel free to do that. And we appreciate everybody watching on CBS 19+. You guys have a blessed, safe night. Please be careful in the storm. Joel Robinson will have an update tomorrow morning on CBS 19+ and on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube channel, and I'll be back tomorrow night, and then we're going to stream often during the day Saturday. In fact, Saturday morning we'll have a live stream newscast on CBS 19+, and may even break into programming to cover and bring you some information if the storm looks like it's getting a little dicey. And definitely Saturday evening we'll be streaming. So again, thanks for all your time, your efforts, watching, participating, being part of this community with us, being part of this experience that we're going to go through. You guys have a great night. We'll see you on CBS 19 News at 10 o'clock.